Well, listen, if you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on.
Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help.
Here's the truth. When someone has nothing meaningful to offer, they just ramble endlessly, a non-stop stream of empty words. Viewers don't support the bitter personalities on The View because they're disconnected from everyday Americans. Honestly, they should consider getting their information from real media instead of their own echo chamber. For years, Whoopi Goldberg ruled The View like royalty, interrupting guests, steamrolling opposing opinions, and declaring her own views as unquestionable facts. But in one shocking moment, her iron grip on daytime television fell apart right before our eyes, all thanks to Karoline Leavitt. No one saw it coming. The episode began like any other, smug laughter, eye rolls, and the usual synchronized nodding that perfectly aligned with the show's left-leaning agenda.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though, it's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
Whoopi, as self-assured as ever, settled in, ready to dominate yet another conversation. Then the topic of wokeness came up, a concept The View treats like sacred ground. It's practically the core of their identity. Feeling untouchable, Whoopi took the first shot. With her trademark smirk, she pointed at Karoline and declared, "Without wokeness, you wouldn't even have this job." Instantly, the entire atmosphere shifted. The audience stiffened, and even Joy Behar, who built her whole career on mocking conservatives, shifted uncomfortably in her seat.
I'm going to stop this interview if you continue to attack my colleagues. I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay,
now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Caroline, thank you very much for your time.
That was so good.
What Whoopi said next was exactly what everyone expected, predictable and irritating. After all these years hosting the show, you'd think she could come up with something more original. But nope. Here we were again. Let's see what she tried this time.
In a statement afterwards, this young lady claimed her, quote, on-air snub proves that you-know-who will not be treated fairly in the upcoming debate. Now, do you think this is going to make people doubt whether CNN can stay objective, or is this more the same of, everybody's against me, it's all rigged, I tell you. Is everything rigged?
No, it's their MO. That's what they do. Rachel Maddow said last week, she's like, if the election is lost, it was rigged. If there's a debate, then the moderators are probably biased and they're prejudiced against me.
The tension in the room was thick. Everyone braced themselves for what would follow, but Whoopi had no idea how unprepared she was. This wasn't a friendly debate or a lighthearted exchange. Whoopi had taken a direct shot at Karoline Leavitt's entire career, her intelligence, her work ethic, reducing everything she had accomplished to a mere byproduct of an ideology she opposed. It was condescending, dismissive, and meant to belittle her completely. Yet despite the insult, the audience clapped like they were running on autopilot. A few even chuckled, though discomfort lingered in the air, an unspoken awareness that Whoopi had crossed a line. But Karoline didn't flinch. She didn't rush, didn't scramble for a defense. Instead, she smiled, a slow, confident smile that said, "You just made a mistake." It wasn't arrogant. It was the expression of someone who knew she had the facts, the evidence, and the composure to flip the entire situation. And that's exactly what she did. Karoline began with hard data, cold, undeniable numbers that couldn't be dismissed with sarcasm. She cited government spending records showing how taxpayer money was being funneled into bizarrely woke programs, gender studies in Guatemala, global activism-infused Sesame Street adaptations, and a list of costly initiatives that raised far more questions than answers. With precision, she connected the dots, showing how wokeness had evolved from a social movement into a political weapon used to silence and punish dissent. And Whoopi, she wasn't laughing anymore.
Divisive and disgusting speech that any president, certainly in my lifetime, has ever given. He essentially waged war on half of the country by saying that we are all a threat to democracy because we believe in putting America first. It's not radical to want to put your country and your own people first. It's not radical to want to have a strong border, a strong military, and to unleash the might of your own economy, not economies around the world.
She really is articulate, isn't she? It's honestly shocking that the hosts on The View chose to mock her instead of supporting another woman. It reveals so much about their underlying agenda. Let's see where this goes. I'm sure Karoline is about to drop more truth they can't ignore.
You know, we have seen cultural Marxism trickling its way through every institution in this country. The public school system, the higher education university system, Hollywood, big tech, the corrupt mainstream media that I fought against in President Trump's White House are indoctrinating my generation of Americans into hating our country, hating one another based on race and gender and all of this other BS, quite frankly.
The woman who built her entire reputation on dominating conversations and shutting down conservative guests suddenly found herself cornered. Whoopi shifted in her chair, her usual smirk gone, her hands fidgeting as if searching for stability. She was used to watching guests stumble and struggle under her rapid-fire remarks, but now the roles were reversed. No matter how badly she wanted to regain control, she couldn't. Karoline wasn't giving her an inch. For the first time in a very long time, it was obvious to everyone watching that Whoopi Goldberg had backed herself into a corner with no easy escape. She opened her mouth, nothing. Tried again, still nothing. The words just wouldn't come. The audience, normally quick to cheer her on, sat frozen in uncomfortable silence. Even her most loyal fans didn't know how to react. The energy in the room had shifted completely. The camera crew hesitated. Should they zoom in on Whoopi's stunned expression, or cut to a commercial and hope viewers wouldn't notice the meltdown? Whoopi, usually ready with a snide remark, sat stiffly in her chair, clearly wishing she could disappear. She had walked right into a trap. And here was the bigger question Karoline revealed: if wokeness is truly about diversity and inclusion, why are conservative women always the ones being attacked? Why do the self-proclaimed champions of tolerance become hostile when someone dares disagree? Whoopi had no answer. The silence dragged on. Desperate to save the moment, Joy Behar forced out an awkward joke, trying to break the tension, but it was too late. The damage was done. Whoopi had unraveled on live television.
Well, listen. If you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on.
Right.
That's what you hear.
Yeah.
When they don't have anything to hold you with, nothing to make you think about what they have to say.
It's hard to watch, isn't it? Her arguments come across as childish and dismissive, especially when confronted with facts she can't refute. It really makes you wonder how someone like her continues to hold such influence. After so many years in daytime TV, you'd think she would have been replaced by someone actually capable of thoughtful discussion. It's honestly baffling.
They talk at you, not to you, and that's what she was doing, and she was doing it, and it's not new.
No.
But everybody's hip to you all now.
Yeah.
And we are anticipating that you are not prepared. Because you keep saying you going and you preparing when you're on the trail.
And the internet, the internet absolutely exploded. Memes, reaction clips, endless commentary. Within minutes, Whoopi's stunned expression was everywhere. But things didn't stop there. This wasn't the first time Whoopi had landed herself in trouble with her own comments. Over the years she's turned The View into a lawsuit magnet, dragging ABC into controversy after controversy, from tone-deaf Holocaust remarks to bizarre defenses of questionable individuals. But nothing hurt ABC more than the recent string of defamation lawsuits. First Carrie Underwood, then Elon Musk, and now Karoline Leavitt. Lawsuit after lawsuit made it harder for ABC to justify Whoopi's unchecked commentary. And this time, Whoopi had no one to blame. Let's talk about the Carrie Underwood situation. When Carrie performed at Trump's second swearing-in ceremony, Whoopi and her co-hosts went after her viciously, mocking her, claiming she'd ruined her career, even implying she'd aligned herself with hate. It was a character assassination on national TV, and they expected Carrie to just ignore it. But she didn't. She filed a $1 billion defamation lawsuit against The View. And when the case hit court, something explosive surfaced, something even Whoopi hadn't anticipated.
That you saw live on this program yesterday. Joy Behar stirring the pot of controversy after saying this about Karoline.
She's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
Do you want to take this?
No, you cannot be attractive and smart. I will try to give Joy the benefit, and thank you. I try to give Joy the benefit of the doubt that she didn't see that briefing. Because if you saw that yesterday on numerous topics, no big binder, I think she might have had a different impression of this young woman who held her.
It's refreshing to see someone finally break free from The View's scripted narratives. Watching someone stand their ground with actual facts feels like a win, especially when the usual voices start to fall apart. It's satisfying to hear a genuine perspective instead of the same predictable agenda.
You would have to give her the benefit of the doubt that she did absolutely no research or reading about anything dealing with Karoline Leavitt before she made that remark. Because Karoline Leavitt she went to St. Anselm College, she worked for WMUR
Ran
TV.
for Congress?
In New Hampshire, she ran for Congress at the age of 25, put out a very good campaign.
Karoline's achievements are genuinely impressive, and it's great to see her finally getting recognition. On the other hand, Whoopi's accomplishments are harder to define these days. Yes, she had a strong start as an actress, but her recent contributions seem focused more on stirring controversy than offering substance. Her position on The View feels more like a product of tenure than value. It's difficult to point to anything meaningful she has done recently.
She lost by 8 or 9 points, but she still put on a good campaign. Then she was the press secretary for the Trump campaign, going on TV literally every day.
Well, heavily pregnant and a new mom.
Pregnant. Yeah, she's a new mother. And then she goes out yesterday and gives and this again, this is speaking very objectively, because I've watched every press secretary since going back to Marlon Fitzwater. Yeah, I'm that old. And she went out there for her very first briefing at the age of 27 years old, the youngest press secretary ever, and did a terrific job.
Leaked emails revealed that ABC had intentionally orchestrated the attack on Carrie Underwood to boost ratings. It wasn't a slip, it was a planned smear campaign designed to generate outrage and keep The View trending. When the truth came out, the industry was stunned. ABC executives scrambled into damage control mode and settled for a huge undisclosed amount. Behind the scenes, doubts grew about whether The View was even worth the chaos anymore. But then came Elon Musk. The host spent months portraying him as dangerous, spreading false claims about Twitter's policies under his leadership. Musk didn't let it slide. He sued, sending The View back into crisis. Advertisers grew tired of constant scandals and began pulling out. The show's once powerful reputation started to crumble, and major sponsors questioned whether the risk was worth it. As lawsuits piled up, cracks within the show widened. The powerhouse led by Whoopi Goldberg was collapsing. With 3 lawsuits and advertisers fleeing, the network entered panic mode. The View was no longer the asset it once was, and ABC could not stop the downward spiral.
I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation.
She's rambling in circles, but Karoline is the one truly standing up. She's the hero here, pushing back against all of it.
Reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason. because black people couldn't get into colleges, because women could not get into the colleges they wanted to go to. This is all women. Yeah. See, this is not black, Asian, this is all women. Women were not invited to this party. It was a man's world, and we busted our...
Whoopi Goldberg's time on The View came to an unexpected end. After years of dominating the show and silencing opposing voices, the breaking point arrived after her showdown with Karoline Leavitt, a moment that exposed her vulnerability on live TV. ABC tried to spin it as a temporary break, but it was obvious she had been fired. The network scrambled as advertisers withdrew and loyal viewers questioned the show's future. Now, with Whoopi gone, The View stands at a crossroads. Will they bring in another host just like her to maintain the same narrative, or will they finally change direction? Is this the beginning of the end for the show? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next.